Freedom's Cause, Vignette 8, titled The Way Forward. From all you have thus far heard in these vignettes, it is therefore imperative you recognize that if you leave it to the lie of total inclusion to define that vision the American people should strive to fulfill, if you allow it by said means to play upon people's conscience and thereby beguile many into believing that which was wrong is now right, that which was right is now wrong, you thereby relinquish to the lie the capacity to define what the laws of the land should be, in that, rather than denying said doctrine the ability to be licensed, the laws of the land will uphold it in being lawfully licensed. Thus, to overthrow the power the lie has to mock the truth, it is needful you receive of and adhere unto the previously stated evidentiary truth in line with developing the appropriate national mindset. As void of your fulfilling both of these charges, you cannot end the capacity the doctrine of total inclusion has to mock the truth. If you, in your standing as a loyal member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, seek to reject these truths via holding to the belief the form of knowledge proffered herein can only come into the world via means of your prophet, you thereby stand in opposition to the principle of separation of church and state. In so doing, you not only deny yourself the right, as an American patriot, to receive of said understandings, you bear witness of a lie, in that you bear witness unto your children and your children's children, that they also hold no such right. In this, do you not see that you cut yourself and your posterity off from being able to receive from your Creator those visions via which you as patriots can overcome the harsh issues of the day? For in holding to the belief that said knowledge can only come into the world via your prophet, under the guise of being a loyal member who sustains your prophet, you forsake your responsibility as a patriotic citizen to sustain your Declaration of Independence. Indeed, via said misconduct, you have striven to impose upon your prophet a burden towards resolving these harsh national issues, which falls outside his venue of responsibilities. If you rebel against this truth, then it is for you to remember. Over 3 generations ago, your prophet, President Grant, stated that the constitutional amendment that established prohibition was amongst the most righteous laws ever established by a nation. In so doing, he asked the members of that day to vote to sustain said amendment. Many did not, and for that reason the vote of the state of Utah was registered as the vote that ended prohibition. As for those members who voted to sustain said amendment, what happened via means of their vote? It is evident they altered their vote from one that sustained said amendment to one that sustained their prophet. For if they had truly looked to follow their prophet's counsel as patriotic citizens, they would have sought out those undeniable truths from their Creator, which prove why it was requisite prohibition be maintained. In so doing, have been able to share said knowledge, and thereby have endowed their fellow Americans with the capacity to, as patriots, sustain said amendments, and thus the Constitution of the United States and the Declaration of Independence from which it is derived. Instead, they chose to merely vote as members, and thereby they opened the door via which the doctrine of total inclusion has gained full admittance into this world, It is evident many of you maintain said attitude towards your patriotic responsibilities in that you refuse to seek out and act upon those truths which pertain unto this corrupt doctrine. Thus, like them, you will find said behavior garners not but evil for the American people. For you have taken your standing as good law-abiding American citizens to mean you must also be American patriots. By this means you obtain all of those blessings associated with being a good law-abiding American citizen, while avoiding those responsibilities associated with being a patriotic American. Thus, in regards to the harsh issues of the day, the hand of patriotic friendship which you extend unto your fellow Americans is largely reduced in standing to that of an empty gesture. For if you, as citizens, did not hold to said attitude, the Creator would have no reason to call upon me, a person who is not an American, to defend by means of truths rendered undeniable that which is your responsibility before all other peoples to defend, freedom's cause, so thereby the cause of freedom might move forward. I tell you now, and I tell you truthfully, you have and you continue to pay a heavy price for said misconduct. For if you had fulfilled your duty as American patriots, your Creator would already have endowed you with the visions associated with this knowledge. If this had transpired, it is for you to realize the vast majority of your members who have abandoned your faith would this day remain active amongst you, for they would have remained true to the visions associated with said knowledge and thereby your faith. For is the analogy of the tame olive tree not had amongst you? Therefore, can it not be said that the large number of your young adults who are abandoning your faith can be likened unto the withering of the newest of leaves? Now, if they are withering, then for what reason are they withering? Is it not due to the fact the strength that abides within them is being drawn away from them and placed in the roots of said tree? For in denying them their right to receive of those revelatory insights via which they can, as patriotic citizens, resolve the harsh issues of their day, via stating unto them said knowledge can only come into the world via your prophet, rather than cause their faith in God to grow, you have denied them said opportunity, and thus have caused their faith to wither. For have I not said unto you, the light of understanding I am authorized to unfold unto you is as that associated with the light of the moon. Therefore, what I state cannot stand in opposition to the sun's light, but rather must bear witness thereof. In so doing, it must help solidify the belief had by those who already walk beneath said light, whereas the vision offered via the lie undermines said belief. Therefore, if you desire to see those who have abandoned your faith restored unto you, it is needful you provide them with that vision via which they can resolve the harsh issues of the day. For if you refuse to do so, if you allow the lie to establish the vision as to what it means to uphold all in their inalienable rights, in so doing you sign the spiritual death warrants for a growing number of your members, especially amongst the young adults within your membership. Have I not unfolded to you how ancient slavery functioned by means of that subtlety required to beguile people, so thereby people could, by the power of the lie, corrupt the authority of their culture, and thus bring those they termed as lesser people into bondage? Have I not unfolded to you how communism functions by means of that subtlety required to beguile, so thereby people could, by the power of the lie, corrupt the authority of their state and place a nation's people under bondage? Further, have I not repeatedly said to you that the doctrine of total inclusion is a false doctrine of happiness? Thus, in its efforts to beguile, it does not function under the heading of either culture or state, but rather that of religion. In so doing, its capacity to beguile via the power of the lie surpasses that of communism, even as communism surpasses that of ancient slavery. You do not perceive this as due to the political efforts of its members to have their faith licensed. You have mistaken it for a political doctrine. Thus, where the acceptable weaknesses had amongst you has the happiness you are capable of achieving in a holding pattern, the doctrine of total inclusion beguiles the vision of many, as it seems to offer a brave new world of peace and harmony. It is for you to learn and to unfold unto others what this peace and harmony are, as the amount to the peace of a prison yard and the harmony of a chain gang. In this it is for you to recognize you cannot in and of yourselves obtain that political victory whereby you can end the power of this false doctrine of happiness to be licensed. You need allies, and a lot of them. Your Creator is aware of this, and He has established them in your midst. For this reason, once you, as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, are taught, it is requisite you reach out to your neighbors and unfold to them that which is being unfolded to you, that you, in your standing as American patriots, do so via extending a hand of friendship unto your neighbor, as only by this means can you enter into close bonds of friendship with Muslim families, Hindu families, Buddhist families, and other Christian families, etc. This is where victory lies. This, therefore, is the vision of a brave new world of potential you must present unto your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. For once you, in common with all these diverse peoples, have fulfilled that labor whereby you have overthrown the power of this false doctrine of happiness to be licensed, what then? Once the couples within these diverse families have fulfilled this labor by also overcoming the acceptable weaknesses within their marriages, what then? Can you not see, and will you not understand, if a people fulfill the covenant they are under, to uphold all in their capacity to pursue after happiness, if they have overcome their acceptable weaknesses, and thereby open unto themselves the means via which they can achieve greater happiness, then is it not requisite that God provides them with the means whereby they can obtain this greater happiness, even the fullness thereof? For have I not said unto you that the light of the moon is as a preparatory light? Further, if it is your testimony that only via your faith can people obtain unto the fullness thereof, then it must follow the means must then be opened unto you, via which you can teach those who at present you cannot teach, Muslim families, Hindu families, etc., a means that will exist due to the friendship that now exists between you and these families, yet a means you can only ever access via your church leadership. For if your prophet is indeed a prophet, then it must follow God will unfold to him the means whereby those you cannot presently teach can be taught. For save this transpire, the work of God in endowing all with the capacity to obtain greater happiness, even the fullness thereof, is rendered void. Yet the word of God shall not be rendered void. And seeing as this is the case, then in accordance with your faith, the knowledge your prophet shall bring forth shall surpass in understanding all that I now unfold to you, even as the brightness of the sun surpasses the brightness of the full moon. In this it is for you to understand only after you fulfill the charge you are under as a patriotic citizen to uphold all in their inalienable right to pursue after happiness, can you, as a loyal member, look to fulfill the first great law of thy faith. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. For how can you, as a loyal member, possibly propose to fulfill said law, in that you unfold the tenets of your faith unto all, save you first uphold all in their inalienable right to receive of said tenets? A right, as already noted, you can only uphold all in having, and being able to exercise, via you first fulfilling, as a patriotic citizen, the second great law of thy faith. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. For is this not also in accordance with the tenets of thy faith, in that the first shall be last, and the last shall be first? In having stated the previous, it is warranted that for the time being I close these vignettes, for it is requisite you be given an appropriate amount of time to consider all you have thus far received, in that, if you deny those truths which have thus far been rendered undeniable to you, nothing further can be unfolded to you. But if you accept said truths, which must transpire via your willingness to set aside that attitude of stoic endurance whereby you presently sustain your marriages, to instead take on an attitude of service whereby, as a couple, you help one another see and overcome said weaknesses. Further, if you accept of said truths, then this additional onus is placed upon you to reach out to family members, friends, etc., who are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and bear witness of the truthfulness of what you have learned, and in so doing invite them to receive as you have received. If you are willing to accept these two conditions, this is the means whereby you as an individual and as a people are entitled to receive of the remaining undeniable truths which pertain unto the doctrine of total inclusion. For only by said means can a vision of righteousness be established amongst you as a people, and thereby endow you with the capacity to unfold of said vision unto your fellow Americans. A vision whereby you will be able to unfold via truths rendered undeniable how the doctrine of total inclusion stands in opposition to your Declaration of Independence. Explain why acceptable weaknesses within marriages must needs be resolved. For this is the sure means the Creator presents to you, via which you can overthrow the power of this corrupt doctrine, and thereby preserve said declaration, and in company therewith the purpose of the Constitution of the United States, that in the process of so doing, this is the means whereby your marriages shall blossom as a rose, and thereby you will obtain the capacity to help others so blossom.